What is even happening? Like, I'm so over it. So hi everybody, my name is Marta Mama, I'm your basic queer bitch, and I'm here to explain you all the references about Drag Race España Season 3. If there is anyone still watching, I mean. So to be honest, I'm a little bit devastated this season. I'm very sad for the queens, for all of them, to be honest. I'm devastated for the production. I'm very sad about how everything is going. And I was just about to quit. I was about to stop doing reviews, but I got some PayPals this week, and the people are so nice, and I know that there's people that are enjoying my content. Having the season that we're having, they're still enjoying my content. So thank you very much to Ana. Thank you very much to Luis Martin. I'm doing this review just for you guys. Honestly, I'm working crazy hours and it's kind of difficult to make content, and I'm not that excited about this season. So I'm doing this just for you. If you want to support my channel or send any love this way, you have my PayPal account down below. Thank you very much. I'm only doing this for you guys. So I have to remind myself that my position here is to explain you the references, and there are amazing drag queens this season, and that their job and their art deserves an explanation and cultural references and all that. So even though this is one of the worst rated episodes in the history of Drag Race in any franchise, I just want to say that these queens are very, very amazing queens, and their job is amazing, and that this episode was actually pretty good. Yes, there was some chaos, and yes, I do know that you don't understand anything, but I'm here to explain that. But the episode was very, very good just until the moments that the judges opened their mouths. So let's value the work of these queens, let's value their talent. So let's go on with the references. So Paquita and Pinchadora just left the competition and Kelly Roller is back. We get to know that Clover Bish, if she had won last challenge, she would have saved Kelly Roller as well. So the end up result would have been the same if Clover had won. So that's good to know, I guess. Then they have a little makeup mini challenge. They tell them to team up in pairs and they just grab whoever is by their side, which just tells me that they are like really a family and they're not having huge problems with each other. So they just make it easy. And they invite in our own Spanish Norvina, Álvaro Cruz. Álvaro Cruz is the founder of Crash Cosmetics. You know, they talk about Crash Cosmetics all the time in the episode. So Álvaro Cruz was like an influencer, a male beauty influencer in Spain, and he founded his own makeup company. I love that for him. So he's our Spanish version of Norvina from Anastasia of Beverly Hills, let's say. The mini challenge is that they have to do a blindfolded makeup to their partner in 3 minutes. So you know it's supposed to look crazy. And the pairings were Bestia with Clover, Ornella with Kelly Roller, and Pitita with Vania. Kelly and Bestia end up winning. Of course, they all look crazy and they win a makeup set of like 500 euros of Crash Cosmetics. Then they let us know that the whole episode, the maxi challenge and everything is going to be about 1, 2, 3, responda otra vez, 1, 2, 3, answer again. That's the name of a game show that we had in Spain for many years. It started when the television in Spain was still in black and white. We didn't have like color TV until 1973, I believe. So it's something that has been on TV like throughout the 70s, throughout the 80s, and they've done like a couple more things throughout the years. And this is something like every older person in Spain is very, very familiar with. And it's a game show that has like a complete different dynamic. I'll explain that a little bit later, but they tell them that they're going to get paired up by like choosing randomly from some bags. So we get the pairing, which are Ornella and Kelly, just like in the makeup mini challenge. Pitita and Clover which are both from the same region of Spain, let's say, and Bestia and Vania. So in this game show that I was talking about, there were always like 3 teams of 2 people, and it had like different parts and different characters or whatever, but they have to, first of all, create a character that they're going to be like competing in that game show with. So Vania and Bestia decide they're going to be a mother and a daughter, like the trashy daughter and the helicopter mom. Vania chose to do like an Andalusian accent, like that's not from her region. Imagine, I don't know, someone from Portland doing a southern accent. It felt a little bit weird because especially like Andalusian accent is always something that people make fun of, and they think that it's immediately funny. So, I don't know, it felt a little bit weird. And Bestia was like the trashy girl from, that's their characters. Pitita and Chloe, as I told you, they're both from Barcelona. Barcelona is in the region of Catalunya, that's in the northeast of Spain. You know that Spain is very, very, very diverse. Catalunya is a region that has its own characteristics, its own language, its own culture. And in fact, there is a huge independence movement in Catalunya because they want to be independent. They don't want to be part of Spain. It happens with a lot of regions in Spain that have other languages, because in Spain there are many official languages depending on the region where you are. So yeah, they are like this couple from Catalunya where like Catalan is their mother tongue, and and then Ornella and Kelly Roller decide to play with like the past and the present and whatever, and they decide that they're going to do like parodies of very famous Spanish influencers, specifically like right-wing influencers. So for example, Ornella is Maria Trombo, and we have a Spanish influencer that is Maria Pombo, which is known to be like a little bit conservative. So Supreme comes out looking like a lady, and you're like, why is she looking like that? Well, she's supposed to be the TV hostess of this game show, which was Mayra Gomez Kemp. So Supreme is supposed to be Zaira Gomez Kemp, and she looks like her, kind of. It's very funny because when she comes down the stairs, you can see that she's handshaking invisible people down the stairs. That's something that Mayra Gomez Kemp used to do at the beginning of every single episode of Un, dos, tres, responda otra vez. She would walk down the stairs just handshaking and greeting everybody in the audience. And then they introduce, like, the pit crew members are going to be the secretaries of Un, dos, tres. They used to have, like, beautiful young ladies. One was in charge of, like, counting the 3 minutes or whatever that they had. One was in charge of, like, counting how many right answers they have and all that. They always introduce the secretaries by name, which I think is something that they don't do in many TV shows anymore, which was something like kind of good. And you see like 2 old ladies sitting next to a bell. Those are the original ladies that worked in that game show many years ago. They had some like comedic parody characters that were in every single episode, and they were the ones in charge of like giving bad news to the contestants. Like, for example, no, that answer is not correct because this and this. And they would always say it with like some type of rhyme or a joke or something like that. They were known as las tacañonas, which could be like the, I don't know, the tight-fisted, or like the Scrooges, like the ones that don't want to give more money to the contestants for their prize. So they would stop their answers ringing the bell. And these are the original ladies that were in that game show. And they say, oh, we thought that you were like dead. And they say like, how are we going to be dead if our last name is Hurtado? You guys don't understand this, but this is like a huge running joke in Spain. We have another game show host, which is Jordi Hurtado. And Jordi Hurtado has been on TV for like, I don't know, 40 years, and he looks exactly the same. So we always say that like this guy is 800 million years old and he's before the Big Bang, and that he was here with dinosaurs, and it's like this running joke. They have the same last name, so they say, of course, like if we are Hurtados, of course we cannot die. So this game show had different parts. In the first part is the one that is like the best well-known part. In this part, Mayra Gomez Kemp would say like an introduction about something like historical or cultural, and she would say like for 25 pesetas, this was in pesetas. We had pesetas before euros, okay? I remember pesetas very well. Clover doesn't remember pesetas, for example. But they say for 25 pesetas each answer, say, I don't know, imagine like sports that you play with a ball. And then, for example, tennis. And then the pair would say tennis. And the other one would say football. The other one would say soccer. The other one would say, whatever. And they have to say as many correct answers without repeating and without getting anything wrong in the amount of time that they have. And then the secretary would always multiply how many answers they had by 25 pesetas each answer, which is a ridiculously small amount of money right now. And they would tell them like how much money they have won. And the secretary here in like Drag Race gets all the numbers wrong because of course they don't understand pesetas anymore and they don't understand how that math works. So going with their performance, let's go with the first pair. That was Vania and Bestia. The critiques that they give to Bestia, I don't think they are completely fair because I think that they can apply those critiques to almost anyone. They say that the character lacked depth, that she only chose to be like a trashy brat, but she didn't give any like layers to the character. And I'm like, oh yeah, well, like none of them did. But it is true that her answers didn't always like make sense, and her answers weren't always funny. She did put in some jokes. It just was that they weren't funny all the time. About Vania with this Andalusian accent, she's supposed to be the helicopter man, but she cannot stop herself from being like a little bit thirsty around all these beautiful, gorgeous pit crew members. So she's like the helicopter, but also like thirsty mom because she cannot help herself. But she was funny. She has a lot of like funny jokes. She said like, oh, which one is my camera? This one. Oh, and then she says hello to her husband who's home. Like that's something that everyone did on TV. I don't know. It was kind of funny. I didn't understand the thing that she was in and out of character unless they were talking about the fact that she was also like being all thirsty around the pit crew. Then Pitita and Clover. Okay, you guys, you may not agree with me, but I'm going to give you my opinion. If you don't agree with me, I'm very happy for you, okay? I think Clover did amazing. They're supposed to be like this middle-aged couple from Catalunya. And Pitita, physical comedy and her like character development, like physically, was very cool. She had like some straw coming out of her mouth, straw coming out of her pants. She was like man-spreading, absolutely. Her legs were very spread very wide open. And yeah, and Clover was like the little more like tight lady. All the answers they were giving are things that are regional from Catalunya. That's something that was valued very highly by the judges. They did only value that for Pitita though. They didn't say that that was something that Clover was doing too. But but in my opinion, Clover had a lot of good moments in her physical comedy too. Like she was grabbing her purse all the time, like under her arm, and she was saying jokes constantly. I didn't hear one single joke coming out of Pitita's mouth. Not one of them. I didn't hear any jokes coming out of her mouth. I think that the only interactions that we have seen on camera are her saying things from that region. Like that's the only thing. I was sure that Pitita was going to be in the bottom. Don't hate on me, okay? I'm not disrespecting her work. I just thought that there weren't any concrete, real jokes. And you guys, this is not hate. If you think I'm hating on Pitita, you can go check yourselves, because I have spoken like this about my friends. I have spoken like this about any queen. Like there are lots of queens that I love and adore, some of my favorite queens, ever. And I'm going to say the same things that I see. If you don't see it, I'm happy for you and your experience. And then Ornella and Kelly, the first part with the questions, they had a couple of jokes in the introduction, and then, I don't know, they were just, especially Ornella was kind of giving like correct answers. They weren't like too jokey. The fun part for Ornella and Kelly was in the second part where there was a little bit more physical comedy. So in the second part, in Un, Dos, Tres, they used to do like a little more physical challenges. It wasn't about like answering questions anymore. So here they give a bunch of eggs to all of the pairs, and they say that they have to like find the hard-boiled egg between all of those eggs. So they have to smash those eggs in the other person's head. So that's what they do. So we're going to go in the other order. Kelly and Ornella were the best here. How can they look so good with all that egg yolk running down their face? I don't know. Their physical comedy was very good, and they were like saying jokes that made sense. They just made it funny, and they made it like believable. Then Pitita and Clover, they like bring up like, oh, I'm seeing another man, and they have some interaction there, but that was mainly Clover in my opinion. And yeah, they smash the eggs, and it's, funny, I guess. And then Vania and Bestia, they also do it, but like the eggs were bouncing off of Vania's head. I don't know what was going on. It's all suddenly like very chaotic, but it is on purpose. I like that they left a small amount of time where it can be chaotic, but it's not chaotic the whole episode like it was, I don't know, last season with El Diario de Putricia, or, there are many instances and many other challenges in other seasons where it was complete chaos. Here, they had chaos only in one little section of the challenge, which I enjoyed. You can see Supreme talking with the Hurtado sisters, and the Hurtado sisters says, yeah, we didn't put one single hard-boiled egg. They're all like fresh eggs. And Supreme is like, what? So how are we going to choose who's going to win? And they say, like, you're going to win, Supreme. And that's basically it. Like, chaos, eggs, and then the spot is over. When they come into the workroom to get ready, this was amazing because, they always say like a little sentence, and they say, hey, girls, how do we like our eggs? Or where do we like our eggs? Or something like that. Okay, eggs in Spanish is the word that we use to refer to like the bowls, the nuts. So they're asking, where do we like our eggs? And they say, oh, I like them here and here and here. And you can see Clover's face in the side, and she's like, please, can we stop? This is disgusting. I was living. And then they have a couple conversations in the workroom. They're talking about gender, and Bestia explains like she doesn't care about gender and labels and all that. And then Bestia talks about her sister Maria. Maria has Down syndrome, and she talks about like if everyone saw everything with the eyes that my sister sees the world, there wouldn't be any wars, there wouldn't be any fights, because she makes everything normal and natural. And I thought it was like a super cute conversation. Then I love that they took the opportunity with Kelly Roller and Vania and Ornella Góngora to talk about the STIs, which is something that they talked last episode, and Ornella has also talked about like being positive in HIV and her journey with all that. And they talk a lot about sex education. They talk about the stigma, getting treatment in a place where they don't treat you as a person as well. And they talk about all these problems that people have just for being like sexual people. And I love that Ornella specifically didn't limit this as a problem of the LGBT community, because it's not. Ornella just says that there is a lot of guilt that they put in people for being sexual beings, which I thought was beautifully worded. And Kelly is a big advocate for sexual education and all this, as we saw last episode. So, cool conversation. Our guest judge this week is Maria Pelae. I love Maria Pelae. She is amazing. She's a singer-songwriter from Spain. She's like from the same area as Kelly Roller, for example. And she does songs that are like have a little bit of humor and are influenced as well by flamenco. And she is a very cool gal. She is openly a lesbian. And for example, here when it's Pride, there is a person in each Pride festival that gives an opening speech. I don't know if you guys have it, but for us, it's like a big thing. It's like a big title. I gave the opening speech for Pride wherever, and she gave the opening speech for Pride in Torremolinos last year, for example. And that speech was amazing, to be honest. She has a lot of things to offer, not only the fact that she's a lesbian, but she only ends up talking about that because it's the only one people want her to talk about for some reason. But she deserves respect. We love Maria Pelae here. Okay, let's go with the runway. The runway was illusions. There's supposed to be optical illusions. I know this was a nightmare for all of the queens when they got the list of all the categories. This is one of the runways that they were fearing the most because they only had like 3 weeks since you get all the categories until you have to pack to go to Drag Race. So yeah, this was a little bit crazy, but let's go describe them. Vanya is supposed to be like a wall that has been written over a lot of, mean slurs. And the optical illusion is when you turn off the lights, there are positive words that you can see under the black lights because they're like neon, and yeah, like it's a very straightforward look that anyone can understand. Clover's look, people don't agree on this. The judges said that this was very costumey. I thought this was amazing. I loved it. I don't care about things being costumey, girls. It's supposed to be drag. It's supposed to be drag. Drag is not high fashion. You have to go out to the bars a little more often, you guys. This look was amazing. Yes, this is a type of look inspired in something that you can buy, but this was completely made. It does look a little bit crafty, but honestly, I was gagging. I thought it was amazing. I thought, honestly, that Clover probably was going to win this week, but I never learned my lesson, right? Bestia's look was super cool. This is, for me, one of the coolest looks to ever grace the Drag Race España runway in the history of the 3 seasons. This look was amazing. We can talk about if it fits the category because the optical illusion is just supposed to be the fact that she has 8 arms. I don't know if that's enough of an illusion, if it does really look like she is opening up her chest. I'm not sure if that's like an optical illusion. But anyway, this is one of my favorite looks ever to grace the Drag Race España runway. Kelly Roller's optical illusion was like floating. This is something that we were expecting. The judges say that this looks very cheap. Obviously, I agree. That dress needed to be longer. It needed to have a different shape. It needed a lot of things. The materials were very, very cheap. The floating thing, I thought, like, how would I have done this if I were Kelly Roller? Probably it's easier to imagine if you do an illusion more similar to Clover's illusion, in the sense that, imagine, legs are going to look always bad and fake. But if you have something like a genie that doesn't have any legs and is floating on top of like a cloud, you can make that work. You can hide your legs under the cloud and have like a fake genie tail. I don't know, the illusion idea was very good. I just love, honestly, I'm in peace with Kelly Roller now. I just think that she doesn't give a fuck. And I love that for her. She just doesn't care. She's happy to be there. She doesn't give a fuck. Then Pitita's look, she's supposed to be a queen from the 16th century, and then she opens and she has like cheetah prints and like laser beams coming out. Me personally, I didn't enjoy this look. I didn't see any optical illusion there. I optical illusion for me is something a little bit different. And even if you value the look as something like specific, I don't think this was one of the most powerful looks down the runway. I know that a lot of you guys love Pitita, and I love that you loved this look. This is just my opinion. Ornela's look was probably like my favorite. I know I said like Bestia was one of the most amazing looks, but Ornela's look is one of the ones that I personally like the most. Even though I can understand it's not one of the best looks ever, it is one of my personal favorites in how I understand drag. I'm all about storytelling. I'm all about having a concept. I'm all about, having people have emotions, saying something, having a point of view. Ornella comes out as this bride. Yes, the dress was simple, but it worked wonderful for me. And then she takes a knife and she just busts her breastplate open. If you guys didn't see this detail, she even painted her tattoos on top of that breastplate for it to look more realistic. And then she sliced that open. She grabbed her heart from the inside, and she was just like, there's this bride that no one wanted to marry. So I don't know, I thought this was beautiful. The storytelling was amazing. The execution for me was on point. I love how Ornella tells a story in her runways and you can understand everything that's happening. For me, I stood up and I gave this an applause. And when I was watching it, I was just wowed and floored by this. I loved it. So for me, this win was either for Ornella or for Clover, as usual, and I never learned. It's never for Ornella and it's never for Clover. It's always for Pitita. So this is the lowest rated episode in the history of Drag Race España by far. This is one of the lowest rated episodes in the history of Drag Race, of any of the 50 seasons throughout all the franchises. And it's not because of the episode until now. It's because of what happened with the judges. If you agree with what the judges say, I am very happy for you. I am not trying to hate on Pitita. I think that they are trying to antagonize everyone with Pitita, and I don't think that is fair for her career. I don't think that's fair for anyone's career. This is having terrible reviews. There's a lot of people internationally that has stopped watching it. So I personally don't understand the judges. If you understand them, that is 100% amazing. But look around, you guys. I'm not alone in this. I'm not hating Pitita. I think that if Pitita would have competed in season 1 or season 2, she would probably be one of my favorites. But this is not what is happening. And it's getting super annoying. It is getting very, very annoying. I think that they are trying to make her into some type of villain and able to crown another person. Because I don't think that Pitita is a crownable person right now. I've said this before, just because of the edit they're giving her. And I think that if they crown her, it's going to be very, very hard in the tour, if they have a tour. You want the people to root for your winner, and people are not rooting for Pitita, unfortunately, because she deserves people rooting for her when she does amazing. For me, she was a lot worse than Clover in the challenge, and her look wasn't better than anyone's in this challenge. Maybe it was like Vanya's look, I don't know, but I thought that she was going to be in the bottom. Maybe not in the bottom, okay, maybe she was going to be safe, but winning? I don't know. But I have decided that I'm going to stop watching Drag Race right before the judges talk. I don't care about who goes home, who stays. I will watch that in the next episode when they say what happened. I will see that on Twitter. But I just don't want to know. I don't want that the judges' critiques is making me not like this season, because the queens deserve the love. The queens deserve their good careers afterwards. Honestly, I don't think it's production anymore, because I don't think there's anything to win here. I do think this is exclusively the judges. I don't see like any storylines that would benefit anyone or forming. There's a lot of lovely people that work in Drag Race, and I'm sure they're just as devastated and as angry as we all are with this season. So stop hating on the girls. It's not the girls' fault. Of course, Pitita did her best. Like, how is it going to be Pitita's fault? It's not. You just have to love her. She just, like, it's never her fault, obviously. So, if you don't agree with me, it doesn't mean that you hate me. If I don't like how a queen has performed this week, it doesn't mean that I hate them. I don't think that the value of a queen can be measured in Drag Race terms. Like, Drag Race cannot tell me how good a queen is or stops being, or how much we should support and love their queens and their careers afterwards. I have never ever cared about who goes home and who wins, but this judging just breaks the whole illusion. And it changes the experience for a lot of people. Like, a lot of people internationally have just quit Drag Race España. And I'm very sad for that. I'm very sad for the careers of everyone. This is obviously not having the success of any of the other 2 seasons. And I'm very sad for the queens. And I'm very sad for the production even. So this episode, they also told them to choose who should go home and why. And they each choose one, except for Vanya that says herself. I think Vanya is a little bit like, you know, with her mental health sometimes. She doesn't want to feel like she doesn't deserve to be there, and that other people that she really admires are not there anymore because of her. So she has like a little bit of a mental breakdown. Usually when they give the question of who should go home and why, it brings a lot of drama and tension between the girls. Think like last season, for example. But this time, it wasn't at all. So I'm not even going to mention who each one said because it's not important. The bottom 2 were Kelly Roller and Bestia. I do think that they saved Vanya because if they hadn't saved her, she would have left. She would have done a Jenny Lemon and just left. But well, they lip-synced to the song from Maria Pelay, and I know that you guys don't understand this. I have heard everyone's opinions on Twitter, but Kelly did win fair and square this lip-sync. But okay. This is like a flamenco song, and Kelly is from the same region. She understands the vibe that you have to put to the song. I know that if you're not familiar with this type of song, you would think, oh, Bestia was doing a fantastic job. But just think of like someone having like a country song and you're dancing hip hop to it. It didn't make sense when one was dancing to the song that she was dancing. And Kelly Roller, even though if you hated the little reveal that she had, if you didn't understand her movements or her attitude, that was what should be given in that lip sync. Well, not the reveal, that was terrible. But you know, she was swinging her hair like the flamenco people do. She was doing all these attitude things. She, fair and square, won that lip sync. Bestia has to leave. The other person that could be, like, they have eliminated 4 of the front runners in the last 3 episodes. Amazing. Like, I don't know where this is going. Well, I do know where this is going, but I don't like it. I am not enjoying this season whatsoever. I'm devastated. You know, I don't care about Drag Race. I'm worried about their careers afterwards. And I do believe that all of them are very sad that they are in season 3 and they weren't on season 2 or season 1 or something where they can make them shine a little bit more, because I don't think that this season is shining. I think that this episode was amazing until the judges opened their mouth. And just because of that, the whole experience about the whole episode was terrible. And that's not fair. The queens did a good job. The episode was good. It was well produced. There have been other episodes that haven't been well produced. If I could say something about the production or the editing, it would be that if the judges' critiques are going to be something that really doesn't make sense with the fantasy, it is the editor's job to make it make sense. Maybe, I don't know, say that, okay, that because in the beginning, when they explained the challenge, they said that the winning team was going to be, like, there was going to be a winning team. Like maybe you could say, okay, the winning team is Clover and Pitita. And once we have the winning team based on the Maxi Challenge, they can say, oh, Clover, your runway look is amazing, but we do think it's a little bit costumey. So just because of that, we're going to give it to Pitita, even though you did it a lot better in the Maxi Challenge. Then I would have understand, but they're not doing that. So it feels very weird. I never understand what's going on. Shout out to Ornella, shout out to Clover. I think they are doing such an amazing race, and they are not getting the recognition that they should by the judges. But I remind you guys, the power is in our hands to give them the recognition. The judges can only give them 2,500 euros. We can give them careers. So if you like someone and you don't think that the critiques matched how much you liked someone, go and support them. Find their PayPals, share their content. Go, you know how to support a queen. So now I'm shouting and I seem angry. That's because I am a little burnt out. I am not enjoying this whatsoever. I'm worried for them and their careers afterwards. I'm worried about the whole franchise, to be honest. And just stop saying that anyone that gives any type of critique to the show is trying to destroy Drag Race España or is hating on Pitita. It's not that at all. So remember to go watch my sister reviewers. In Spanish, you have my friend Paradise that talks about fashion. You have my friend Emily Goes that talks about makeup. And in English, you have my friend Mari Rants. If he wants to still talk about Drag Race España, I would understand if he doesn't talk about Drag Race España anymore, to be honest. Remember that down below you have my social media and you have my PayPal account. If you want to support my channel or send me love, thank you very, very much. So that's all for today. Thank you very much for watching. I love you guys. Stay queer. Stay queer.